Hello there, Angel here, back with another video about decay tanking. We're gonna go for the frost tank this time. So because of frost presence, decays can tank in almost any spec. Even without talents they would still be a great tank. This ability improves their stamina by 8%, gives them armor, and also reduces the damage that they take by 8% from all sources, and also boosts the threat by a lot. So Frost Presence actually doubles all the threat that we do, but Icy Touch is the main source of our threat, which also gets 7 times more threat while in Frost Presence. So the first talent that we're gonna take is Improved Icy Touch, which not only boosts the threat of Icy Touch by 15%, but also reduces the attack speed of our targets by 6% on top of the already 14, so a total of 20. This is one of the debuffs that should always be on the target, on the bosses, so you should always have this active. And then the last talent in here increases the armor contribution from items by 10%. All tanks should have this or an equivalent one, and we're gonna boost this to the maximum. The next talent we're gonna take is the range for Icy Touch by 10 yards. Normally it is only 20 yards. With that talent it is 30 in total. So afterwards we unlocked the next level. Lichborn is a very nice cooldown that would allow us to remove any charm, fear or sleep effects, and also be immune to them for 10 seconds. And on top of that, it also turns us into undead, which means that we can heal ourselves with an ability, the Death Coil. And if we're gonna take Lichborn, I also suggest increasing the maximum runic power that you get by 30, so from 100 to 130, which would allow you to use 5 Death Coils in the time that Lichborn is active. Now we have a talent in here, Nerves of Cold Steel, which increases the chance to hit with one-handed weapons and increases the damage of our offhand weapon. Now normally hit rating is something very good to take because it increases our threat, but this actually limits the way we're gonna tank, because you might actually want to use a two-hand weapon instead of 2 one-handed weapons. So also it doesn't boost the hit with spells or with Taunt, specifically with Dark Command. It only boosts the hit chance with weapons, and most of our threat actually comes from a spell, not from a weapon attack. Here we have Frost and Shadow damage. It's only 2% per talent. That's pretty low. It's not worth it. And then we have another talent in here, Annihilation, which boosts our critical chance and lets us use Obliterate without consuming the diseases on the target. Again, we're not gonna take this. We're actually never gonna use Obliterate at all. We're gonna use only Death Strike with that pair of runes. So we're gonna go in Icy Talons, and we only need 2 points to unlock the next row, but we're gonna max it out because we're gonna take another talent later. So until then, we're gonna take Endless Winter, Strength 4%, and also lets us use Mind Freeze without using our runic power. Mind Freeze is an interrupt. We already unlocked the next level. We're gonna take Frigid Dreadplate, which reduces the chance to be hit by 3%. some nice bonus avoidance, and we only need 2 points to go to the next level. We're gonna take Killing Machine, which makes our melee attacks have a chance to boost our Icy Touch, and not only does it boost it by a bit, it actually turns it into a critical strike. So this is a huge strat improvement. We are gonna take more points in this talent, but first we're gonna put our Improved Icy Talons in here, which not only boosts our own haste, our own attack speed, it also improves the haste rating of the entire party by 20%. So now there is a talent in here, Chill of the Grave, which gives us a more unique power for Icy Touch. The Howling Blast and Chains of Ice and the Obliterate were barely gonna use. Chains of Ice is nice for some mobs that need to be slowed, so up to you if you wanna take it. The other recommendation that we have is the critical strike chance of Icy Touch by 5%. If it's maxed, it's 15%, or again Howling Blast. But Howling Blast is all the way at the end of the talent tree, and we're not even gonna take it, it's too far away. So up to you really if you want to take these talents in here. Another very nice one is Glacial Rot. Diseased enemies take 7% more damage from Icy Touch, so this is 7% more damage per talent points and 6% in the middle, so a total of 20 for 3 points. So way better than 2% from Black Ice. And also, if you're gonna put multiple talent points in Killing Machine, the extra damage stacks way better with the crit from this talent than the extra crit chance. And in here again we have 6% additional damage, but only when striking targets under 35% health. So this would only boost our threat when the boss is at under 35% health. So 20% all the time is way better than 12% only when in the last third of the fight, basically. So we need just one more talent to get to the next row. I'm gonna put it in Killing Machine to boost the chance to get criticals with Icy Touch. Now on this row we're gonna take the Improved Frost Presence. This is the most important talent that we want to get from here. And then we're gonna take Hungering Cold, which is a 1-minute cooldown that freezes everything. Now bosses are actually immune to this, but even if bosses are immune, there are lots of mobs and ads that would still be frozen by these, so they will be out of the fight for 10 seconds or until they are attacked. So diseases will still do damage to them even while frozen, which is very nice. Some AoE damage over time threat is always nice. Now at this point I would recommend to also get 2 more points. You could take Chill of the Grave. I would actually recommend to take Chill Brains, which reduces the movement speed of your targets affected by the disease from Icy Touch. So this would allow us to get Unbreakable Armor, which is again a 1-minute cooldown, increasing our armor by 25% and our strength by 20%. This is a very nice cooldown. It's a huge improvement to our survivability, and also it has 20 seconds duration. This is huge. This means that we only have 40 seconds in between uses, so very nice cooldown overall. You should use this a lot. Now At this point, after getting this, I would actually suggest to look at some talents in Blood. So we're gonna take Blade Barrier. While our Blood runes are both on cooldown, we get 5% reduced damage taken from all sources. Very nice avoidance. And also stacks with everything else, with armor and all our other cooldowns. Some threat in here, but not for Icy Touch, for abilities that we're barely gonna use. Some runic power. Usually you should have enough runic power. While in combat we generate 2 runic power. We're not gonna take this. What we are gonna take is the bladed armor, which increases our attack power by a lot, depending on our armor. Of course, the more armor we have, the better. And out of all specs, Frost Decays are the ones that benefit from armor the most. We're not gonna take Scent of Blood, again increasing our runic power, and we're not gonna take the two-handed weapon specialization because again it limits the choices we have when we want to gear up, and also it doesn't affect our Icy Touch or our taunts because they are spells. Now Rune Tap is a very nice cooldown, again 1 minute cooldown, and we can heal for 10% of our maximum health. The last talent in here, Death Rune Mastery, is a very nice talent. Basically whenever we use Death Strike, the 2 runes that we used for Death Strike turn into Death runes, which means that we can use them for anything we want. If we want to get more threat, we can just spam Icy Touch. If we want some defensive cooldowns, we can use Unbreakable Armor, or we can use Rune Tap. So this gives us a lot of versatility on our runes and keeping threat and keeping the fight going. We need 1 more talent for the next row. I'm gonna take 1 point in Dark Conviction. It's 1% chance to crit. This point can be pretty much used anywhere. It does increase the chance to crit with weapons, spells and abilities, so this includes Icy Touch. But other than that, this talent is only there to move to the next level. We're gonna improve the Rune Tap. It lowers its cooldown by 30 seconds, so not only we will be able to use it once per minute, but actually twice per minute, and also doubles the health we get. So instead of 10% max health, we get 20%. That's very nice. A fifth of our health. It's a very nice boost. Now, again, we have in here a very small heal that only works when we kill something. So in most fights, especially when we have a boss that doesn't summon ads, this will not be that useful. The middle talent in here, Spell Deflection, is very nice. We have a chance equal to our parry chance to take less damage from a direct damage spell. So this is very nice. We also get parry chance from strength, and we get a lot of strength boosts. So this is a very nice talent to get for those bosses or fights where spells are used against us. And again, we're not using 3 talents here because 2 is enough to get to the next row. We're gonna take Veteran of the Third War. This is the only talents that Decays have that increases their stamina. It's only 3%, but we also get a 6% boost to our strength, and also 6 expertise. Now we're gonna stop here, and we're gonna go back to Frost. We only have 12 talents left. So at this point, I would recommend filling this talent in. So instead of 30% slow, it's gonna be a 50% for everything that is affected by Frost Fever. Now, we need just 3 more talent points to get to the next row. We have Threat of Tessarian, which again only works when dual wielding and doesn't boost Icy Touch. It boosts our Death Strikes, Obliterates, Plague Strikes, Rune Strikes, Blood Strikes and Frost Strikes, but we're not going to use almost any of these. Plague Strikes barely do any damage and any threat at all. Death Strikes we're only going to use for healing and to turn runes into death runes. The middle talent in here turns our Blood Strikes and Pestilence runes into death runes. Now, this is nice if you want to really turn all your runes into death runes, so it gives you a lot more versatility. It boosts the damage of Blood Strike by barely anything, only 10%. Again, that will not affect us at all. So those 3 talents in here can be used somewhere else, either in a rhyme where we increase the critical strike chance of Icy Touch, or in Chill of the Grave getting more runic power, or also in Killing Machine, again giving us a higher chance of getting criticals with our Icy Touches. So I'm gonna leave it in there for the blood runes. Now in here, this row is a very nice one. I'm gonna go for Guile of Gorefiend. This it gives us some critical chance, again for abilities we're almost never gonna use, but also increases the duration of Icebound Fortitude by 6 seconds. So Icebound Fortitude normally takes, it's 12 seconds duration and 2 minutes cooldown. By using this talent, it boosts it by 6 more seconds. Now remember, Unbreakable Armor has 1 minute cooldown and 20 second duration. So what we can do is, between Unbreakable Armors, we have 40 seconds that we can fill in with other cooldowns. So boosting the Icebound Fortitude by 6 seconds gives us 18 seconds duration on Icebound Fortitude, which means that we only need 22 more seconds to fill in with something else. We're gonna talk more about this later. At the moment, we only have 5 talents left. In here we have Acclimation. Whenever we are hit by a spell, we have a 10% chance, which increases over time. So the more talents we get, the higher the chance that it will proc. And it will boost our resistance to a specific type of magic, the one that we're hit by, for 18 seconds. It also stacks up to 3 times. Now, this would be nice, except it boosts the resistance after we're hit by a spell. So, if we're not hit by any spells of that school for 10 seconds or something like that, the chances are pretty high that this debuff will fall off and the resistance will not actually help us at all. So unless you get constant damage from a specific school, this talent is not worth it. So I'm not even gonna take it. If you want to really go full on spell resistance, you should go Unholy. I already made that spec. Otherwise, this is not such a wonderful talent. Again, it's very specific, and it only works on maybe 1 out of 10 or more fights where spell damage is constantly dealt to you throughout the fight without pauses of more than 10 seconds. So now those 5 talents left, I would suggest to put in Anticipation. It's just plain 5% dodge. You could also fill in this talent in Spell Deflection and then get Mark of Blood and then fill in Acclimation. So again, this last 5% dodge is not such a big deal. Feel free to move them around, and the same with the other talents that I mentioned. So the death runes from Blood of the North, or the damage from Glacial Rot, and just play with it and see what you like. You can also remove Lichborn and Runic Power Mastery if you don't like it, if you notice that you're never gonna use it. But I'm gonna go with this build, with Guile of Gorefiend for 6 extra seconds on Icebound Fortitude, without the spell defenses, and with maximum death runes. So I'm gonna run these talents. Before I do that, we can take a look at our armor. So 22k to 52, less than 60% reduction. We have 26k HP, and we are currently capped on defense. We have 5.92, so that's more than enough. Also 18 expertise, because the main hand is a mace, so we get 5 extra. So after learning this, also look at the dodge, less than 15, and parry, so 30% total. Bam, there you go. So we got some health, we got about 2000 armor, so something like 2% there, and 5% dodge. Also 6 more expertise. So the glyphs will be again Glyph of Dark Command as always, 8% chance to hit with your taunt with Dark Command. Icebound Fortitude, 10% more damage reduction to Icebound Fortitude, and Glyph of Anti-Magic Shell. This increases the duration of Anti-Magic Shell by 2 seconds. So Anti-Magic Shell is not an unholy spell. It's not restricted to unholy. You can use it for other specs, it's just that it's not that powerful. So it's a 45-second cooldown, and because of the glyph, it lasts 7 seconds instead of 5. Now, of course, if we take enough damage, it will just go off and it will disappear. But if we take less damage or damage over time, it will continue to absorb the damage for 2 more seconds. So now let's talk about this combination of Unbreakable Armor. So again, it's just 1 minute cooldown, and it takes so it's 20-second duration. So if we have any 1 minute cooldowns other than this one, we should use them right after Unbreakable Armor falls off. So if there are either bonus from sets, or maybe trinkets that have just 1 minute cooldown, or maybe you notice that a trinket procced. So for example, this one lasts 10 seconds and it will reduce damage from all attacks. And there are a lot of cooldowns and items that would give you boosts like this. There's also the Reputation Ring if you're already in Icecrown Citadel, that also boosts your armor. So those 40 seconds, first of all, you should use any 1 minute cooldowns. So things like, for example, if you use the Rune tab, it's 30 seconds cooldown, so you could use it twice. Things like Anti-Magic Shell lasts 7 seconds, it's only 45 seconds cooldown. So you could use this to prevent spell damage right at the end of Unbreakable Armor, and then heal with Rune tab if you get hit by a melee ability. Then Icebound Fortitude, 18 seconds duration. So those 18 seconds, we already only have 22 seconds left to reduce the damage between those Unbreakable Armors. Then 10 more seconds if you're a dwarf, 10% armor and removing all poison, diseases and bleeds, 8 seconds more. So that's already only 14 seconds left. Then we can use Army of the Dead, which reduces our damage taken by our dodge and parry combined. So in our case it would be a bit over 35%. This is for the channeling duration, which is 4 seconds. So now we already have 18 from here, another 8, another 4, so only 10 seconds left to take some reduced damage between unbreakable armors. And during those 10 seconds again you can either proc a trinket. So for example I have Offering of Sacrifice, which increases our maximum HP. It's a very small cooldown, but during your career as a Frost Decay you're gonna replace these items and get a lot of other items that have 10-second durations, and you can use them in between those unbreakable armors. If you have something very nice with exactly 1 minute, you can proc unbreakable armor first, then the other 1 minute cooldowns one at a time, and you'll get to a point where you will be constantly having cooldowns active. So the Frost Decay tank is the best at cooldown tanking. Just chain your cooldowns one after the other. Unbreakable armor has priority, and also anti-magic shell for spells, and then put them one after the other. Avoid wasting cooldowns when you're not being attacked, either if the boss is repositioning or if it's casting something that doesn't affect you, or if mobs are not around, things like that. And by using cooldowns one at a time, one after the other, you can basically spend your entire time in a fight without getting ever hit by full damage. So again, because we're a Decay, we have very nice single target threat with Icy Touch spamming with both Blood of the North and Death Mastery. We can actually get to a point where we're gonna use 10 Icy Touches in a row. So that's huge threat. You can even spread them around multiple targets. If you have like 5 targets, you can do 2 Icy Touches on each, and that would be very nice threat overall. So again, our priorities, threat, we have the Dark Command for 8%, and then we need 237 more hit rating for spells. Again, almost nothing of our threat comes from physical attacks, so we don't need to take care of that. Expertise is 26. We get 6 from the talent from Veteran of the Third War, and we need 165 expertise rating to top that off. As a dwarf, you actually get 5 extra, so you're gonna reduce that by another 40, so only 125 rating. Agility doesn't give attack power. It does still give armor and some dodge, but it should never be a priority for decays. And we have AoE skills to help with threat. We have the Death&Decay and also Pestilence that all decays have, but we also get Hungering Cold. Instead of using Death Coil, we can use the Hungering Cold to freeze all our enemies and inflict them with Frost Fever. So this would also freeze them, but will also slow their movement by 50%. Crit immunity, again 5.6% chance to crit, which is 540 defense. We have 8 extra. 400 you get by being level 80. 26 you get from having 2 runes of Nerubian Carapace, and then you need 114 more defense, which is the equivalent of 560 defense rating. Healthpool, stamina gives 10 HP before buffs. With the talent Veteran of the Third War, and also with Frost Presence and with Blessing of Kings from Paladins we have 21% more HP from stamina. Then we have armor. 2% we should have in the meta gem in the helmet. We have 10% reduced damage from improved Frost Presence, 2% from the talent and 8% that all decays have. And then we have 5% more from Blade Barrier, and also the reduced attack speed from Improved Icy Touch, 20%. Keep in mind, Death Knights do not have the attack power reduction that all other tanks have, so you'll need either a warrior or a druid, a feral druid, to use that ability. Otherwise, the boss will not will do full damage from that point of view. And then Avoidance, we already mentioned it. We get more. We get a Parry Rating from Strength, and also the parry gives us a chance of taking less damage from spells. So that would be it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day or a good night wherever you are.